Hello, Michelle, the owner of Empower.world, is a truck driver and he's not a very good speaker. So he asked me to make this video for him. But he still wants to make the effort of addressing the issue of free speech at the end of this video. So this is his fundraising campaign to continue his project of an exact copy of Facebook. Now, if you go to Empower.world right now, you will probably feel the need to send the following message like, hey, sorry Michelle, but your site doesn't look like Facebook at all. Yes, in a sense you are right, but there is a good explanation for that. Social media sites are built with a left and right sidebar and a center space where content is shared. So sidebars can be modified at any moment, whereas the center remains the same. So you are in fact seeing a copy of Facebook, but with different content in the sidebars. The words exact copy refers to Facebook's functionalities. In other words, our site mirrors exactly every action allowed on Facebook. Even if Facebook evolves daily, using WordPress makes it easy to stay one step ahead. Of course, instead of apps, we use plugins to add specific features. For example, if you can chat through Facebook, granting access to chatting in WordPress is as easy as clicking a button in the dashboard. So, by this process and with the help of the users, Empower.world will be simultaneously upgraded with Facebook. So, a simple email gets the job done. Hey Michelle, can you add this function to your site please? Boom! Mission accomplished. Function added. Although it is important to understand that there are limits to what can be done through social media. Okay, now that we have covered functionality, let's move on to design. There will be an explanation for why Michelle wanted it different later. For the moment, the focus will be on what rather than on why. So in other words, what will be the difference between Facebook and Empower? Since nobody really knows what others see when they are logged into Facebook, here's a description of Michelle's Canadian homepage, a few ads on the top right with online contacts underneath, and then text links in the left sidebar and news in the center. So, of course, the entire page is controlled by artificial intelligence, and since 90% of online content is negative, Facebook bots are curating and feeding users a nihilistic experience. So, what will be the difference between Facebook and Empower? The mission. Michelle's objective is to provide a more positive adventure and hang out where humans instead of artificial intelligence controls the content to make it sure it doesn't become destructive. Of course, that is easier said than done, and it took him 2 years to figure it out, making sure that the eyeballs landing on a homepage only sees uplifting content isn't a walk in the park, and the undertaking would include many steps. The first step had to be taken into consideration the fact that users can only influence the center space. So, step 1, control the sidebars and make sure they remain optimistic. Empower secured these two battlegrounds by delivering a permanently static sidebar on the right and a periodically static one the left. So, the videos you see in the left sidebar will change from time to time, but the content will remain under Michelle's jurisdiction. If the aim of step 1 was to safeguard the sidebars, then the next logical step had to manifest itself as a shield against bullies who want to attack the center space. So step 2, convince the public that the biker of the center needs to be sedated. Needless to say that this could not be wrapped up until humans realized that the marriage between the masses and the proverb, misery loves company, is responsible for giving birth to negative content. Pessimists prefer posting a video of someone getting punched in the face rather than a video of someone winning a fight against cancer. Why? Because everyone wants everyone to know how miserable they are. without understanding that the reason they are miserable in the first place is that everyone else wants everyone to know how miserable they are. So this pendulum reflects the severe scene in Ghostbusters, wherein the dark energy of New Yorkers gives rise to slimy demons. In this case, instead of slimy demons, it's total guerrilla warfare on social media. The human needs to scream misery from the rooftops is simply too powerful. The cosmos had to give Michelle the authority to appease planet Earth. So, in step 2, Michelle was simply playing the part of Mr. Howard Beale from the movie Network. He was shouting to the world, "This is mass madness, you maniacs! For God's sakes, give me the control of the center." And even though his bark successfully managed to make Earthlings surrender to sanity, he still had to deal with the fact that raising awareness alone was not enough. Centrist space warfare couldn't be reduced from its current 90% to 0 without a serious plan. So step 3, revealing the plan. So the most important question facing humanity right now is, how can we stop humans from posting fatalistic content? Well, governments worldwide have now decided to use censorship to end the online hysteria. Michelle believes that his solution is more reasonable. So ingenious, in fact, that government should just stay out of it and let him handle his mess. This mess. With that being said, government funding would be appreciated. The remedy, of course, is to reward users for being positive. So on InPower, users will receive points for posting constructively. After a certain amount of points, users will be able to exchange their points for cash. The point system is already installed but requires a lot of testing to get it right. For example, should 1 point be given for posting text, 2 points for a picture, and 3 points for a video? All this technical mumbo jumbo will be addressed later, depending on how much funding can be raised. But philanthropists must understand that rewarding users for posting kindly won't stop intimidators, right? So corrective measures need to be applied, or the nihilist and his dreary crowd will always overpower the platform. On Facebook, users decide what content should be removed. On InPower, Michelle will decide. So content judged useless will be deleted immediately. Of course, the public reaction to such an authoritative maneuver will probably sound like, "Hey Michelle, are you crazy? That's even worse than the government censorship." Michelle anticipated that reply and gives the masses a chance to cool down in step 4. So step 4, show the public how the plan is less irritating than government censorship. Okay, so this is how InPower will work. Michelle will be using subdomains. For an example of subdomain, simply go to movers.inpower.world. Michelle will be using exact copies of InPower on subdomains. The main landing page will be censored totally. Yes, 100% censorship. But the second homepage, which will be located on a subdomain, will be only 75% censored, a third one only 50%, and so on. However, no points will be given for posting on a subdomain, as the goal is to brighten up the main homepage. In social media, this strategy has never been used before. Although it sounds complicated, it's not rocket science at all. It's as easy as placing an icon in the left sidebar and bingo. Users click on the icon and they are still on the same site, but the address bar is different. Michelle also wants important influencers to have their own space on a subdomain, but for influencers, the page would look like YouTube, not Facebook. Now, it's important to mention that a site like this will require a lots of funding, because humans instead of AI will control the content. That means that the headquarters will have to be in a country where wages are lower than in the USA, like India for instance. Lots of workers will have to be hired, and the site will be constantly under attack, and that means being in contact with many people 24 hours a day. And security experts do not reply quickly. Adding the best features cost lots of money. Bandwidth alone will cost a fortune. So I will be expecting public and government fundings. And I mean all governments.
Hello out there. My name is Michel. I created a project called InPower.world. Now I did this all by myself. I didn't want no help from anybody. I did not want any funding. But I just realized that I'm getting old and I'm running out of time. So this video is going to be my fundraising campaign. So InPower.world, and it is an exact copy of Facebook with different content in the sidebars. Now people are going to say, hey Michel, why would we fund another social media website? There's plenty of social media out there. There's Twitter, Facebook, Gab, Getter, Truth Social, and I don't know. That's the main ones I know. And I follow lots of them, but they all have the same problem. They're all controlled by artificial intelligence. Now, when COVID madness hit the scene here, I'm in Montreal. I started to spend a lot of time on social media. So I'm a truck driver and I work all night and I sleep about 3 to 4 hours a night. So the rest of the time I was on social media checking what's going on. So with time I noticed that I was checking every post, sometimes 5 hours, 6 hours a day. So I was noticing that it was always the same content over and over again. So if there was a video, it was always the same video. Let's say on Gab, there was 20 videos and it was always the same videos repeating themselves. And I noticed that all the content on social media was pretty much all negative. So if someone spends all day on social media, he's going to go insane. And I'm serious. And you see that people are going insane pretty much all over the world right now. And it's probably caused by social media. So I had an idea with InPower.world to make something more positive. So something that's not controlled by artificial intelligence. The problem is sites like Facebook, they have millions of dollars and they're going to spend their revenue on artificial intelligence, so they don't need staff. So if they don't need staff, they can just collect money and collect money and collect money, and there's nothing we can do about it. Because if I try to build something and I need eyeballs on the content and I need to control that content, I'm going to need a lot of funding. And Facebook, they're not spending no money on staff, so they're going to pretty much wipe everybody out. So I came up with this idea to work with subdomains. So I can create an exact copy on my site what you see when you go on a website. If you look in the address bar, you'll see you're on Facebook.com, and then you see your user ID up there. So I can create something where the content on the home page is censored, and it's censored by me. Okay, so some people might not like that, but I think I could be a good censor, if you. I know that this drives everybody crazy, because right now the big thing on social media is free speech, and all the governments all over the world are trying to prevent free speech, and people don't like that. So there's a fight between we the people and the government. And how is this going to be solved? Well, the government are going to try to keep censoring, and they could shut down Facebook, they could shut down Twitter, they could shut down Gab. But some people, you know, like, it doesn't take long. A guy with money can create a social media site in 1 week and get it up. So people will keep creating these social media sites, and the government will keep going after people. So this problem will never be solved. So my idea is more to create a positive social media where, you know, like, I control the content, and since I'm getting old, well, I'm gonna have to find somebody younger to do it for me. But I'm still gonna have a couple of years to train somebody to say, okay, this is what I want. Like, you know, like a good gospel song, like Elvis singing or something like that. So that's positive, you know. Or somebody winning the fight against cancer. Somebody, you know, like a couple having a newborn baby, or, you know, there's full of things that are positive, but the people are just addicted to negativity, and in a sense, that's how media became the rulers of the world, because they just can pump negative content out there, and, you know, they know people are addicted to it, so they just put the content on there and they'll make billions. So this is a wheel that never stops turning. So free speech is a big thing. So do I believe in free speech? Well, yes and no, but more no. And I will explain this right now. Okay, so I'm going to tell the story about my brother Roger. When my brother Roger was in his early 20s, he started to have a very bad case of acne. And back then, my father had a set of medical encyclopedias. And if I went into this acne section of that encyclopedia, and I found the worst case of acne in the world, well, actually, there was the first case of acne. They had that picture in that book at that time, and my brother looked exactly like that. Like, you know, like some books call these people monsters. So people being addicted to negativity and being what they are, they, like, everybody was calling my brother strawberry fields, and, you know, like, I'm French, so, you know, it's not the same thing in French, but let's say that everybody was calling him a monster and making fun of him and things like that. So what happened with time is that my brother Roger simply did not want to go out of the house no more. He locked himself in his room, and my father could not take him out of the room. Like, he tried many times, but it would not work. He would not come out of the room. He would come out, eat a bowl of cereal, and go back to the room and lock himself up. So this lasted, I don't remember how long it lasted, but it lasted until my brother was almost dead. And at that time, I have an older sister who met a guy who was working in a mental institution, and she brought this guy home, and this guy said to my father that, he said, your son is schizophrenic, and if you don't get him out of that room, he's gonna die. You need to get him out of the room and get him into an hospital now, because he's gonna die from starvation. So, you know, everything was done. The guy told my father how to proceed. They went to see a judge. The judge gave the order to the police to bring him out. And my brother Roger ended up in an hospital, in a mental hospital, for the rest of his life. And he's still, right now, he's in a little better place. He's in Moncton, New Brunswick, in a home for people who's got mental disorder. So what's the saying? Names names will never hurt me, or something like that. I don't remember what the saying is, but no, that's not true. I mean, what people say affects people. And I just showed you how it affected my brother. Now, that did not only affect my brother, because now the whole family was involved. It affected me in the first place. And I became totally insane, because when I was seeing people call my brother strawberry fields, when I was seeing my brother suffer like that, I just wanted to jump on people. And I did jump on a lot of people, and it got me in a lot of trouble, and it got me in front of the judge. And for the rest of my life, I was a very, very angry man, like very angry. I was always into fights. And later I kind of understood that's because, like, I was living in a world where people, like, if I live in a world where people can do this to Like, if I live in a world where people can do this to people who are suffering like that, what's the point of living? That's how I felt anyway. And it destroyed my entire family. Like, my father could not know what to do. Like, he felt bad because he was putting his son in a mental institution, and he tried to do everything. Okay, so you know the rest, you know. We were 6 kids with my father and mother, and it destroyed the entire family. And I kept, I kept trying to go visit them, but every time you go visit somebody in a mental institution, what do you want to do? You just want to break them out of there. And if you do that, what are you going to do? You got to have lots of funds to be able to do that, because you're going to need nurses, and you're going to need a big staff to take care of that person. And you're going to need lawyers to fight the doctors that want to keep him in a mental institution. So people could say, yeah, but Michel, this, like, this happened to you, big deal, like, we're not going to stop free speech because your brother ended up in a mental institution. Well, this wasn't only happening to my brother. Here in Quebec, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but here in Quebec, like, mocking people was like a religion. And most of the people, when I was young, that were mocking people, became the most popular people in comedy when I became an adult. And there's one right now, I'm not going to name him because I don't know the law and I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble, but he has the top TV show here in Quebec. Yeah, and he was mocking, like, we had a good singer named Ginette Renault, which was my favorite singer. And, she was overweight, and everybody kept making fun of her. And it was the same thing with Jean-Marc Parent. He had a bad case of acne, and people were making fun of him. And I could go on and on and on, but you get the picture. So, free speech, no, I don't believe in that. I believe, I'm a Christian, and Jesus said that we have to control what we say. So, however, like I said in the beginning, I said yes and no. Like, I do believe in free speech in a sense that you have to use it in politics, but people still have to be people still have to be able to debate. People have to still be intelligent enough to have, not what we have right now on TV with, what's going on in the US, right? So if you go back to the debates in the time of Nixon and JFK, yes, then I agree with free speech in that sense, where people have to give their own views, and then let the people decide what's going on. So here in Quebec, I'll give you an example. Here in Quebec, we've been having a serious battle against the French and the English for like, well, to tell you the truth, when I was young, it was so bad. I was born in Montreal North, and the army was there because it was the October crisis. So bombs were going off all over the place because Quebec wanted to separate. The problem is that many people did not want to separate. So we had this fight between French and English, but there's French people that still wanted to remain in Canada. So if we take free speech and we go back into the past, let's say like René Lévesque wanted to separate, and I think Bourassa, I don't remember back then, but I think that Bourassa said that the French people have more chance to evolve in Canada than in Quebec. But like, I don't remember exactly what was going on at that time. But let's say we take the same battle between French and English, and we allow free speech in politics. So a guy would give his opinion, his views on, okay, we're French, and you know, like if we do this and that, and we separate from Canada, then we have a better chance to succeed. Then the other politician comes, okay, and he's also French, and he says, okay, I think that because of this and this and this and this, the French people have more chance to succeed in Canada. So then, you know, like they give both intelligent point of views, you know, very smart people, and then we the people choose. Okay, in free speech in a sense like that, yes, I'm for it, because, you know, people have better ideas than other people, and we the people should know who have the best ideas. That's for sure. But what's going on social media right now is not the type of free speech people want. This is not free speech anymore. It's just everybody mocking everybody and just you know, letting steam out because they're angry. And this is destroying the planet. Like, there's no reason for somebody to call a guy, to mock a guy who's got acne, or somebody that's overweight, or whatever, you know, or somebody that's ugly. Yes, you might say, hey, you're ugly. Yes, but one day you're going to get older and you're going to get ugly. So when you're older and ugly, are you going to like it when younger people called you old and ugly? No. So think about that. So I'm hoping you're going to agree with me with this on free speech, because like, I think I got the solution for social media. Like, I think social media should be censored, and that's what I'm going to attempt to do on my platform. So I'm going to be asking for government funding also for this, because I think that governments don't really have a choice. Mainstream media is going down, so that means the social media is going to have control. And if this happens, like, it's going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. However, if governments fund my project, you know, like after a year, they could see what I'm going to produce, like what my ideas are going to produce. Like, my censorship is going to be able to, how my censorship is going to change the vibration of the world. Now, there can still be free speech on my platform. Like I said, only the home page will be censored 100%. There will be an exact copy of my theme, because that's what we call it in web creation. There'll be an exact copy on the subdomain. So you just click an icon, you're going to be on the same site. You won't even know unless you're a guy that's on the internet all the time. You're not going to even know that you're on another site, but that site will be censored 75% and the other one 50%, and so on. So, but still, on my platform, there's not going to be anybody calling somebody, calling a black guy the N-word. There's not going to be anybody calling someone from another race, whatever, or somebody a fat guy or somebody. Not on my platform. I'm going to control the content so that the vibration gets better and better and that we achieve peace on earth. I'm a big fan of John Lennon. So there's plenty of platforms. If people want to go crazy, they'll go crazy on Twitter, they'll go crazy on Facebook. Like, first of all, talking about Facebook, like, the site is so much controlled by artificial intelligence that when I go on my Facebook, the only thing I see is porn. That's it. So how could this be possible? I see nothing else. So this won't happen on my platform because I'm gonna control the content. There's not going to be no artificial intelligence feeding the content. There's not going to be any robots in there. So people will still have they still have the choice to go everywhere else, but with time, I think that, maybe a few eyeballs will come to my platform and see something positive and say, hey, this is a good movie. This is a good song. This is, I like the speech of that person. I like this preacher or whatever. Anything I can find positive and can train others to train other people to take my place to do that. Because it's not going to be easy to train people because, like I said, people are addicted to negativity and they're easily distracted. So if they go online, they'll be brainwashed by what's out there and they're not going to be able to stay focused to go after good content and to feed it to my platform. So a site like this, a project like this, an adventure like this is going to cost a lot of funding. It's going to require a lot of funding, I mean. Like, I have to have staff. I have to train staff. My site is going to be constantly attacked by other social media. That means I have to be in contact with the person who created the platform and then with the people who provide the server. So that's two different persons. And these people cannot be reached just like snapping your fingers. You know what I mean? Like, you send them a message, you say, okay, I got a problem. My site was attacked. And, they have maybe 300 other people that said that. And they have to go fix the problem of this one, of this guy, of this guy, of this guy, of this guy, until they reach me. Of course, if I get a lot of funding, then maybe I can hire my own security or something like that. I don't know. Probably. I haven't figured that out yet. So, I know I'll probably be attacked there for being against free speech, but I'm hoping to change this vibration. I think it could be done. I think the world is going totally insane because, people are very angry and why are people this angry? Well, I think that survival right now is very, very, very difficult for people. The cost of living, like if I take here in Canada, the cost of living is going through the roof, and people are having a very, very difficult time to survive. So that makes people angry. I understand that. But, you know, like, if I go out there today and I see a fat guy and because my rent is high, I call him a fat guy, it's not going to lower my rent. It's not going to do anything. So we can go into tantrum all we want. It's not going to change anything. So right now, people have to calm down. We have to change the vibration of the world, and things will, with changing the vibration of the world, creating something more positive, with time, people will start getting to be more positive, and we're going to see, you know, as things go positive, more positive also, we're going to see more people succeed, because the reason people don't succeed is because they're negative in the first place. I mean, when you're depressed, when you have no hope, then you're not going to achieve anything. You're always going to be, like, believe me, I know that's what I've been through in my life. Like, because of the story I told about my brother Roger, like, this story drove me insane, and I later, at 47 years old, I ended up in a worse place than my brother Roger. Like, I was totally insane all my life. All I wanted to do, because of what happened to my brother, is go in strip joints and drink beer. Get drunk and look at strippers. That's all I did until I was 47 years old. Then I got arrested, and I ended up at in the, I don't know how you call that place, but we have a prison here in the Maritimes called Dorchester, and they have a wing there for people who have mental disorders. So I ended up there, and I came back out in 2013. And you know, when you have a record, life is not easy. So I know why people get mad. But at the same time, like I said, when COVID hit the scene, and I started to go on social media, I said, okay, now I understand why people get mad, but now I understand why people are going to get even more mad, and this is not going to stop until probably we're all dead. So, you know, like, that's my project, and I'm hoping for funding. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can do so by going to empower.world. You're going to see, like, as soon as you're logged in, you're going to see it says Michelle up there in the top, a little icon. It says Michelle up there. You can send a message. That's me. So, okay, like, that's it, guys, and let's work for a more positive world. Thank you for listening to me. Game over.